Previously on the Collector's Outpost, we took a look at the Luke Cave Saber. That's the lightsaber that we see Luke with in the deleted scene. That was a really loved version of that lightsaber. So many great comments. Well, here we are. We've got the Xeno V3 version, and I'm going to show you some of the differences between this one and the Cave version. Let's get at it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Collector's Outpost. I am John. So this one was sent over from Vaders Sabers. This is the Xeno V3 version that recently came out. I believe it's called the Hero 3 V2 or the Hero 2 V3 or the Hero of something or other. Death Star Incorporated, Monkeys Inc. or something. I'll put it on the screen over here. There's just simply too many versions of Luke's lightsaber to be able to keep track of all of them. So anyway, I really like this version of this lightsaber. I actually think there are some better things about this Xeno V3 version versus the Cave Saber that we've looked at. And I'll show you them side by side and a couple of those things that I'm talking about. I want to thank my friends over at Vaders Sabers for sending this over. I'll put a direct link and a discount code for you down below if you want to check this out and everything else that Vaders Sabers has to offer. While you're over at Vaders Sabers, don't forget to check out my own personal lightsaber design. It's the Duality. We only made 100 of those lightsabers and we're just about halfway sold out. So if you want to get yourself one, definitely check it out. And obviously don't forget to use my code Outpost5 for 5% off. Save yourself a few bucks. Anyway, if you are new here, thanks so much for stopping by. Please drop down, hit that like, subscribe, and notification button for upcoming videos. And if you are a returning viewer, let's get into this yet another version of Luke's lightsaber. All right, so this one is, like I was saying, the version of the lightsaber that we see in the Cave deleted scene. Now, we have all of your typical stuff here in here. We have the manual for the Xeno V3. The manual that I have here is not the updated one. There is a brand new Xeno V3 app. So we'll pull that up and I'll give you a brief rundown of that. We have our hex wrench, some styrofoam. We have our acrylic stand. Always good to have a stand with your lightsabers. A USB drive. USB-C charging cable. We've got hex wrenches and some extra retention screws on in there. And we also have this little thumb screw thing, and I'll show you where this goes. It's just a little tool to help get the chassis out if you need it. And you also get a pixel blade. This one's a 32-inch blade. Now, this one I'm actually using right now is the show blade. You can get the show blade over on their accessories page. I really like the show blades because they are super light and they're a little bit brighter than the standard 1-inch blade that you normally get, which is a little bit thicker and heavier. But I do not recommend dueling with these things because they will shatter. They're very thin-walled. And now let me pull out everything for this lightsaber because there's a few different pieces here. All right, let's see where to start. Okay, so we do have two pommel caps here. This is your display one. It actually does have an opening, so you will get some sound out of this if you're gonna use this for your display and, you know, if you wanna use this as a regular cap. Now, the other one is more for really nice vented sound. You can see the difference. So that is your display cap right there. Really, really love how that looks. Now you can see this comes with 3 different emitter tops here. So we have this one. This one is actually, I believe, screen accurate with all of these little divots in it. Then we have your flat one. And then we have one that does have those little divots in it, but about maybe like a ½ an inch of extra meat on there. So when you put this on here, you can really grab onto your blade. Now, this thicker one here, you can see has 3 retention screw holes. So we got 1, 2, and 3 right there. Here's the really cool thing between this version and the Cave Saber version. Now, when I reviewed this one here is the Cave Saber. A lot of you did not like the fact that you can see the retention screws there. Doesn't really bother me that much. On the Xeno V3 here, take a look. There are no retention screws visible. Now, that's because it's hidden. You unscrew the top here. So it's hidden underneath everything. Now let's undo that. Now this does come with a Luke blade plug. Now you can either put this flat top on, you can put this back on, or you could put your thicker one for if you have a heavier blade and you just want to grab way more meat on that blade. That will allow you to really hold on to that. This only has 1 retention screw. Now for the blade that I'm using right now, I'm using that show blade, so it's really light. I'm gonna go back to the emitter top that I had on it. It has that very tiny little lip on the top there. Now, before you put this on, you wanna put your blade on. And that's because the retention screw is hidden underneath there. So we're gonna tighten this on down. And then you can slide the emitter top right on over. Now, the Cave Saber over here also came with 3 different clamp cards. It came with this blue, I believe it came with a black, and it came with a red, I believe. The Xeno V3 only comes with the black. Now, let's open this because they do both open. The Cave Saber had a black chip inside, which is really cool to have that because the lightsaber does have a chip in it. You can see Luke with this really cool tool in there doing his thing and tuning his lightsaber. Now, the Xeno V3, which is green. And you may notice on the top here, you'll also see a second kill switch. There are lights in here which you can turn on and off. Now over here on the thin neck part, we have a more matte kind of brass color here. Not very shiny at all. I think I liked that better. This isn't too shiny, but you can see it's a bit more shinier than this. It definitely has some sort of finish on it. Actually, this whole saber as a whole has a little bit more of a finish on it. You can see that the Cave Saber is a little bit more of a brushed metal. Now the Xeno V3 also includes the uneven rings. So you can see the Cave Saber did have the uneven rings here, as well as the new Xeno V3 version. And zipping on over to this side, we do have much larger arrows, which I do believe are more screen accurate, and the Cave Saber had tinier arrows. Now the Cave Saber does do the blinky effect here when you kind of flip it on and flip through things here. You get that full lit, turn it off, and you get the blink effects here. Now for the Xeno V3, we do have some lights in there. They don't quite blink like that, but we do have lights in there. Let's get this going. Now, this is what this little thumb screw is for. You just screw it into the bottom of the chassis there and you can pull it out like that. Really, really makes it easy. So we do have the gold removable chassis, we have the kill switch here, and we have our typical LEDs all around the side. And one last major difference between the two, over time I've noticed that the Cave Saber has a very wiggly button. They wiggle, and that's how it comes from the factory. The Xeno V3 here has a tiny little bit of a wiggle, but it is super, super tight compared to this version over here. Honestly, it doesn't bother me all that much, but I know it, a lot of you were bothered by it. So right there, that is the Cave version. And here we have the Xeno V3, much tighter. So here on the Xeno V3, like I was saying, we do have some lights under there as well. We don't have that same blinky effect as the Cave Saber does, but this is really cool too. And these will also react to whatever style of blade is going on there. So let's show you. So you can see it's all twitchy now because the blade is blinking.
Rainbow blade.
And look, we kind of have a little back and forth blinky effect, but it's on this rainbow blade here, so. But inside, we also have the LEDs, which are really cool. So we have 4 LEDs here. We got 2 up top and 2 on the side. And like I was saying, right on top here, we have a kill switch just to turn off all of the LEDs if you don't want to, kill the battery. You want to save and preserve a little bit of battery if you're out and about. You can turn these LEDs off. Not that I'm thinking it's going to, pull a lot of wattage and stuff like that or really kill the battery. But it's cool that you have the options to turn them on and off. So just in case you haven't seen the brand new Xeno V3 app, let's pull this up. I'm not going to do a full walkthrough. We're just going to set a couple of settings here and you can figure everything out, I'm sure. The app outside of the visual design is virtually exactly the same as the last one with some added features in it. I haven't had a ton of time to sit down with this thing. I don't really use the app myself, honestly. I do a couple of little settings. I set my blade, I update the firmware, stuff like that. So let's actually connect here. All right, connect our saber, confirm.
App connected.
All right, I want to just double check my firmware. 1.2.5. Now I do think we're on 1.3, so let's update this now. Update. Now the updates don't really take that long, and I love that you can do them with the app. It's so convenient. All right, let me just let that sit for a minute. I gotta tell you, this is the Cave Saber that I'm just messing around with while this thing is updating. This thing sounds beautiful, man. It really does.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
It's got a really nice tone.
Update successful.
So anytime you update the firmware, you just gotta turn your saber back on. It resets everything and kicks everything off.
Power on. App connected.
All right. All right, we are all updated with firmware, and it looks like the new firmware is 1.3 as the filming of this video. All right, the first thing I want to do is go back and just adjust my blade size. So let's go into page 2. All right, and you can see it's adjusting this live. So let me just get to the tip there. And boom, good, perfect. And same page, the other thing I do is click on countdown. Countdown is going to set a secondary beep on the hilt itself for when you're zipping through the menu. Up here, you can adjust your color. Down here, you have your color palette. Just like before. You have your quick colors and full color spectrum like that. That will just fade through all the colors. And then all your auditions like before. And down at the bottom, we have our font selection. All right, and that's pretty much all I use the app for. Now, you can get in there and you can tweak a whole bunch of different settings on the menu systems and everything. You can technically load in your own fonts and everything through the app, which I believe you have to have the font sitting in a cloud folder somewhere so that this can access it. Again, I haven't sat down with this thing. I don't use the app. I'd rather just take the SD card, pop it in my computer, but it is great having the app to do a lot of the basic stuff I need to do. So let me show you what I mean by that app setting called Countdown. When you flip that on, you're activating another setting in the hilt itself. It's basically going to turn on this extra beep when you're flipping through the menu system. So that way you don't have to count in your head, it's going to count for you. So that little bleep, the bloop, that's the first beep for menu 1. That's the volume. So volume.
Volume high.
Okay. 2 beeps.
Unstable.
Blade settings. 3 beeps.
Photon ignition.
Your ignition settings. 4 beeps
Serenity.
is your fonts. So going through your fonts like that by using the menu, the 4th beep is really slow. Just flip your saber upside down and give a twist counterclockwise.
The second. The teacher. Whispers of power.
If you happen to miss the font, then you can just flip it up and then go to 4, and that's going to go backwards.
The teacher.
All right, so that way you can go forwards and backwards. All right, let's give this bad boy a go. We got twist on and twist off, obviously. Our blaster deflex. Flash on clash. Lock up. Tip drag. I know. And you can even change the colors on the hilt itself. Upside down, hold your power button, you're gonna twist it either to the left or to the right. One's gonna put it in quick change and the other one's gonna pull it into the color spectrum mode.
Color change.
All right, that is it, my friends. This is the Luke Hero V3, V2, Hero something or other. All right, everybody, that is the Luke Skywalker Hero 3 V2, Xeno V3. Wow. Now, this is a beautiful lightsaber, honestly. I do just wish this was a little bit tighter. That's about it. There are things about this that I think I like a lot better than the original Cave Saber that I reviewed. I like the arrows on this one. I love the fact that the retention screws are hidden on this. The Cave Saber did give you 3 different options for the clamp card. The sound out of the Cave Saber is quite a bit nicer than the Xeno V3, but that's just the properties of the Xeno V3 versus that one. It just has a nicer sound. I do think I like this brass tone, this more flatter brass tone than this shinier brass tone. Now, don't ask me which one to buy. Honestly, if you have the Cave Saber already, I think you're gold. If you're looking to get into your first Luke lightsaber, or you just want a different version of the one that you have, then maybe the Xeno V3 is the way for you to go, because you have the app and you have the flexibility of having a Xeno. There are just things about one version that I like more than the other version. If you can smash them both together, I think you'll have the perfect one.
Smash.
But honestly, I think no matter which one you have in your collection, I do think you'll be super happy with. A big thank you to Vaders Sabers for sending this over. Again, I'll put a direct link and a discount code for you down in the description. And while you're down there, let me know what you think of this version. Did you pick up the Cave version? Did you pick up the Xeno version? What do you think of the version that you have? And while you're down there in the comments, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notification button for upcoming videos. I have a ton of lightsabers still sitting right here to get to, and I've got a lot of Star Wars 6 scale figures coming in. So you don't want to miss that stuff. All right, I will see you all on the next video. Be safe and kind out there in the world. See ya.